Hi everyone. So in this session, I'll explain you how to create a Azure Data Factory pipeline and automate the task. So let's see the documentation. So our task is, we want to copy the files from Azure Blob Storage. So in the Azure services, we have one of the services, Blob Storage, wherein we can store the files, right? So our task is we want to copy the files from one container to another container. So basically in the Blob Storage, we have containers, and under containers, we have directories, right? So what we will do is, we'll keep some files in one of the container, and under a container we will keep, we'll create one of the directory, and then we'll copy some files over there, and through the pipeline we will automate that task, and automatically it will be moved to another container. Okay. So to create an Azure Data Factory pipeline, we need to perform the below steps. So let's quickly log into that Azure portal. So I'm now on the landing page of Microsoft Azure. So our first step is, we have to create the Azure Data Factory. Okay. So let's quickly create. So on the home page, I can click on Data Factory. Okay. So under Data Factory, we can create Data Factory here. So it will open a form. So it's a normal form, right, which we need to fill up. So there is no coding required, if someone feels like, that coding is required to learn Azure Data Factory. So not really. Most of the tasks you can complete through the normal drag and drop kind of features. So for creating Azure Data Factory, you just need to fill up certain detail, and automatically like one instance will be created. Okay. So when we create a Azure Data Factory instance, right, so it will ask for a subscription detail. So subscription is like we have to create a subscription like in the, so as of now I've logged in from my free account, right? It's a free trial. But in the real environment, we can create multiple subscriptions. Like, one subscription could be maybe for the dev environment, one subscription could be for the test environment, one could be for the pre-prod one, like the UAT, user acceptance testing, and one could be for your production environment, right? So we can get different environments, right? So this subscription, resource groups, and the region name, right? This is something which is common across all the Azure services. So you have to select the appropriate details. Okay, so I've selected free trial resource group. Okay, let's create a new resource group. So I'll say, let's say demo. This is my resource group. Let's click OK. Now it will ask for a name. This name is like basically, your data factory name. So I'll say demo ADF. I'll put some number. Okay. Now you have to select the region. Okay. So select the region which is closest to your location where you want to deploy your data factory, where everything, all the data processing will happen. So I'll select Center India. This is version 2. The rest of the details are optional. So I'll directly go to review plus create. Okay. So now it will validate, and it will say like you can just validate these details like subscription is free trial, resource group is demo, name is demo ADF 14092024. This is your data factory name. Region is Central India, version V2, public endpoint. I'll click on create. It will take few seconds and our data factory instance will be created. Okay, so now we can see our data factory has been created. We can see your deployment is complete. So we have completed the first step. Second step is create the storage account and create two blob containers. Okay, so what we will do is we will go to our, you know, data factory, Microsoft Azure, and here we can search storage. So under services, we have storage accounts. Okay, we have to create a storage account because we have to create containers as well. For that, we would need a storage account. I'll create a storage account as well. Storage account, again, as you can see, it is asking subscription, resource group is already there. Now we have to put some storage account. So I'll say demo storage 09224. This is our storage account name. Region is Asia Pacific Central India. Just all the details are optional, so I'll not go through. Let's quickly see if there is anything we need to select. Networking, enable public access. This is fine. Data protection, encryption, tax. Yeah, we're good. Let's click on review plus create. So these are the details we have. Demo storage, this is the number. I'll click on create. It will take few seconds and then our storage account will be created. Let's wait for that. Okay, so now we can see our storage account has been created. So I'll click on go to resource. So this is a storage account. This is how it looks like. So under storage account, we have a option data storage. This will be minimized, so you can just expand it, and under data storage you have containers. Okay, so we'll click on container. So there's option plus button here, right? I'll click on container. So here we have to give the name in the small letter. For example, if I try to give this way, right, it will not accept. Okay, so we have to make sure that the name that we are writing for the container, it has to be in the small letters. I'll say source. This is because we need to create two containers. The logic is, we will create one container as source, wherein we will copy our files, we'll upload our files, and there will be another container which we'll call it sink, which is basically the destination, right? So the pipeline will automatically copy the files from the source container to, and it will copy it to sink. So I'll create sink, sorry, source. So source container has been created. So I'll open source, and here I will upload some files. Okay. So there is no option to like create a directory. So under containers, we create the directory. But when you upload a file, let's see. Yeah, so I have some file. This is the employee txt file. So I'll just select that file. I'll click OK. And then under advanced, you have an option, upload to folder. So here I will say input folder. Okay, rest of the options are optional. So I'll click on upload. Now you can see a folder also has been created, which is called directory in the Azure language, right? So in the input, we have this file, employee txt. Let me show you what is the data we have. So this is the data we have, like ID, name, some designations, and the country. Okay, let me close it, and then we can go to containers, and we can create another container, which would be my sink. Okay, so now my sink container is also created. So these are the two containers we have. So basically what pipeline will do is it will copy the file from source and it will put it into the sink. Okay, let's go to the document. So we have completed this part as well. Now we need to go to launch Azure Data Factory Studio from ADF. So I will go to my Microsoft Azure and then Data Factory. So this is the Data Factory we created, demo ADF 140.2024. So once I click on that, there is an option Azure Data Factory Studio Launch Studio. So we have to click on that Launch Studio. It will take few seconds and then we'll be on the homepage of Azure Data Factory. So here we actually create the pipelines and all. Okay, so now we are on the Azure Data Factory page. So now what we need to do is we need to create a linked service. So what is linked service? Linked service is basically a connection strings because we are trying to do a copy activity from a storage account, right? So we have to provide some connection strings. So for connections linked services, what we have to do is we have to go to manage section. Under manage section, you have a link service. Okay, there is an option create link service. So I'll click on this, click create link service. So here I have to select like from where exactly I want to copy the files. Okay, so I'll go to Azure and then Azure blob storage. I'll click on continue. So here we can give some name. So this is fine, Azure blob storage. You can put some description as well. Okay. Then here you have to select the account selection method. So there are two ways you can connect to your storage account. One option is either you can select your subscription. Under subscription, it will show you what all storage accounts you have. Like we created this one. So this way also it will work. Or if you want to type in manually, this way also you can do. Like so here it will ask like a storage account. Let's do it. Enter manually. So it will ask my storage account name. Let's see. Let's copy from there only storage account. So yeah, this is my storage account. This is the storage account we created. I'll copy this name, and then it will ask for a storage account key. So key you can find under security and networking. There's option access keys. Okay. So these are the key one, key two. So if you click on show, it will show you the key. This is the long key you have. So you can just simply click on this copied, and then you can paste it here. Simple. Okay. Now we can click on create. So our link service has been created now. All right, so we have created a link service as well. Now it will ask for create two data sets. Okay, because pipeline will copy the data from the input data set and it put it into the output data set. Okay, so because here we have to provide the path from where exactly we want to copy the data and where exactly we want to upload those files or paste those files. So we have to create two data sets. So for data set, you have to go to author section and there is option. Now you can see the pipelines, data set, data flows. Everywhere it is zero, right? So we have to create two data flows. So I'll go to data flows, three dots, and then a new data flow. Sorry, my bad. Not data flow, sorry, data sets. This I can close. Sorry. How do I cancel? Okay, this is the option. Okay, let me cancel data sets. New data set, then it will ask for a, what is the location. I'll go to Azure blob storage, continue. So I have a binary kind of file. I'll click binary, continue. So this I will call it. So here you have to give the data set name. You can give it anything, but it has to be meaningful. Okay, this is input data set. Now you can see it is asking for a link service, right? If you haven't created any link service earlier, then you can create it from now as well. Like, you can see like we created one link service, Azure Blob Storage, so it is automatically showing. But if you haven't created link service earlier, then also you can create it. But it is a good practice, like you can create link services, all the data set beforehand. Okay, so before creating the pipeline. Okay, so now I will click on new. Oh, sorry, I can directly select from the Azure Blob Storage. Now it will ask, it is asking me for the path. So this is the so now what Azure is saying, okay, this is fine. You want to go to Azure Blob Storage, this storage account, but where exactly your files are kept. So I will click on this from root. So here I will define source. Under source, I have my files in the input folder. I will not select this employee file because I may copy some more files maybe in the future, right? This is because this is just for the learning purpose. I have kept only one file, but maybe in the future or maybe in the real world scenario, right? I may copy like let's say 1,000 files, right? So automatically it will copy all the files. So I will not select a file, rather I will leave it till input folder. Okay, I'll click input and then I will click OK. So now you can see our input data set has been created. I will create one more data set. I'll again click on these three dots and create input new data set. Same way I will do it for the output data set as well. I'll select Azure Blob Storage, continue, binary kind of files, and then here I will say output data set. Okay, link service will be same because where we want to copy the data, that is also in the Azure Blob Storage. For example, if it in our case, source and destination both are in the Azure Blob Storage. For example, let's say you want to copy the data from blob storage container and you want to paste those files, let's say in the database, you want to upload it in the database. So then you have to create a link service for the database as well, two link services. So it depends on the requirement. In our case, it is storage account, it is blob storage only, so we can use this link service. Now it will ask for a path where exactly you want to copy those files. Okay, so I will define my sync folder. It is loading. Yeah, I'll define sync and then I'll say okay. Now I will in the directory. If you remember, we had created only one container, right? We had not created any directory. So I will say here output. So it will create output folder and then it will upload those files. I'll click OK. So now my two data sets have been created. We have to publish it as well, but once we create a pipeline, then also we can publish it. Now we will directly go to pipeline. Now we will create a pipeline. So this is our pipeline. Now if you see, when I clicked on pipeline, automatically one tab came, right? Activities, because we have to define some activities as well. Because pipeline alone cannot do anything, right? We have to add some activity, like we want to perform this activity. In our case, we want to perform a copy kind of activity. Okay, so I will go here, search, I will type in copy. Now you can see under move and transform, we have one option, activity, copy data activity. So I'll just drag and put it into this area. Here we can, by default name is pipeline one. So we can give some name as well. Let's say ADF data copy, simple. Okay, this is our pipeline name. You can put some description as well, whatever you want. This is optional. I'll click on this properties to minimize this, and minimize this as well. Okay, so this is fine. Copy data. Now, once you drag any activity, right? This is one of the activity. You may have multiple activities as well, right? In the pipeline. Generally, there are more, but since we are learning, so let's start with the small piece of work. So at least we can understand and we can relate things. Okay, once you drag any activity, right? You have to do that configuration itself. Okay, when I say configuration, there are certain things you have to update. For example, name. You can put some name like copy data from Azure Blob. That's fine. So now you can see the name has been updated. All the things are optional. The mandatory things which are there is like source and sync. You can see one is shown here with red color, right? Which means these are mandatory. So if you go to source, it is asking a source data set, which means now this activity is asking what is the source location. Okay. Now we have already created a data set. So here we have to define the data set, right? So I will say input data set. Okay. Then I will go to sync. Now this will ask sync means destination. Okay, so I will say this is output. Here I want to copy my file. So this is fine. We have created UIDF pipeline, and yeah, we have defined the source and destination. Now our pipeline is ready. So now once we define each and everything, now we have to publish all these resources, whatever we have created. So if I click on publish all, you can see we have created one pipeline and two data sets. So we have to publish it to Azure Data Factory. So in the backend, it will submit like a JSON code, and then only we can run that pipeline. Before publishing, we cannot run the pipeline. It will take few seconds and then it will be ready. Yeah, now we can see publishing completed. Now what we have to do is, we have to run that pipeline. So to run that pipeline, there are two ways. One option is either like you can manually trigger it, or you can create a schedule like which will automatically run the pipeline. So we will see both the options. So I will click on trigger now. We haven't defined any parameter, which is okay. I'll click OK. So it is running our pipeline, successfully running AD data pipeline. It will take few seconds and our pipeline execution will be completed. Okay, so now we can see run succeeded. We can see our pipeline run was successful. And there is also a monitor section. So here also you can see pipeline run. So you can see this is our pipeline name. At this time it started, at this time it ended. It took 17 seconds. And this was a manual trigger because we manually clicked on run now. Status is succeeded. Now it's time to go to our storage account. This is a storage account. And if you remember, we had uploaded some files in the source. Now if our pipeline has worked properly, right, then that file employee.txt file should have been here in the sync folder as well. So if I go to sync, now you can see this directory has been created. Output, yeah, perfect. So now our pipeline run was successful. We can see the results are here. So this is just an example, right? I showed you, right? There was only one file, but generally in the real world scenario, we have like hundreds of files or thousands of files, which comes in a batches and automatically pipeline kind of copy it and put it to a different location. So this is when we ran that pipeline, if you saw that we ran it manually. Now to automate that pipeline, what we have to do is we have to go to manage section. There is something called as triggers. So if I click on trigger, there is option create trigger. So I will say like data copy uh, schedule. Okay, so you can put some description as well, and there are different kind of trigger you can create, like to automate a pipeline, schedule, tumbling window. So there is not much difference. If you see schedule, you have a start date. Like for example, let's say I will say run this pipeline on daily basis starting tomorrow. Time would be, let's say, 9 a.m. in the morning, 9:00, and here also it is 0. So now we have to find the time every one day. Let's say uh, one, and then I will say every one day. If you want to define any end date, so you can define. Let's say I want to run it on starting from 15, and it should end on, let's say, 30th. Okay, that's fine. If you want to specify, now we have specified the end date. If you don't want to specify, you can uncheck that option, so it will not give you an option. Okay, so this is completely up to you. Now this is a schedule. Now you also saw tumbling window. So if you notice in the schedule we have like minutes, hours, day, week, month, five options we have. If I go to tumbling window, now you can see here also it is asking start date, occurrence in every one. Now there are limited option, minutes, hours, and month. There we had, I think, week as well, and there was one more option. Let's see, day. I think day as well, right? Yes. And in the tumbling window, we have like minutes, hours, and directly month. So if you want to set up it, so for example, if you want to like schedule your pipeline every day, so you can't do that in tumbling window. So there is very limited option. So mostly it is just it's a schedule based trigger we create, right? So we can create a schedule. Okay, I'll click on OK. Why it is stopped? Okay, status is started. Did I do something wrong? Looks like, oh, I think we created tumbling one. I think we created the tumbling one, so not sure if let it be stopped. That's fine. Discard changes. So we will create another trigger. New data copy schedule. Copy paste. Let it be this time. We are not defining any end date, so we'll say one, and then I'll say every day. I want my pipeline to run. Okay, so name has to be unique. So I will start trigger on creation. Start trigger on creation. Okay. So it has started. So now whenever the pipe, okay, so this, okay, I think I delete as well. I will delete the tumbling one. Yeah, we don't need it. I'll publish this. Data copy schedule cannot be activated. Close. That's fine. Why it's giving the error? Okay, so we can publish it now. Yeah, so we can see our pipeline. Sorry, trigger has been created. So I'll click on monitor. So whenever pipeline will run, it will start showing the status here. If you want to see whatever triggers you have created, then you can see it here. So that's how we create the pipelines, and we can track the status as well. So and every day it will run on daily basis, and you can change of course the frequency as well, and automatically your files will be copied. I hope you like the session. Thank you very much.